Okay, hi, welcome back to my Learning Rust stream by making a roguelike by following the roguelike tutorial. Yesterday we spent quite a lot of time trying to figure out how to get a game to save and generate a save file. So looking here, we now have a save game JSON, and it has the save game state, including all the points and all the components, and we had to add markers, and there was a bunch of, we could show head. Is that how to do it? Yeah. Yeah, so we added these convert save load macros. We wrote a macro which serialized things individually, and then we had to mark everything up with markers. And it took us a little bit to figure out what uses we needed to use and what we needed to add. There's this no error thing here and marked builders, and it's not quite covered in the tutorial, but we managed to figure it out anyway. Let me switch over to my actual screen here so you can see what I was. I'm still new at this. Okay, so what I was saying was, we added all these convert save loads, right? And we had to figure out all of the. If I look for use. Oh, it has to be plus use. Like that. No, still doesn't like it. There we go. So we had to add the no error. We had to add this marker thing, and not everything was covered by the tutorial. But like I said, when I was talking to an empty screen, we figured it out. It took about an hour. So that's one of my longer streams. I usually stream for only about 30 minutes. So we'll see how things go today. But everything should be in place now, right? There shouldn't be a lot of infrastructure set up. We should just be able to do our code. Oh, wow. Look at this. This looks almost identical. Oh, we're just extending main menu. Okay, that's fine. So we're at restoring game state now. Oh, and by the way, so we're doing this roguelike tutorial in Rust. Yep, here it goes. So we've gotten through all the way down to saving and loading. I'm expecting these last 3 chapters in section 1 to be relatively easy compared to what we just went through yesterday. And then we've got stretch goals with a bunch of stuff, and then talking about map generation, different types of maps that we can create. And then there's this whole section here on making a game, which I'm looking forward to. But we're gonna get there. Let's figure out how to restore game state first. So first we need to know if there is a saved game to load. So in save load system, we add the following function. So one of the things with the save load system is that it does not work in the browser. And I've been doing all my development work in the browser. So we're gonna temporarily work outside the browser, and then we're gonna figure things out after that. I just need to figure out how to block people. I don't know how to do that. Okay. There we go. First time for everything. So let me see if I can open a new window here, and we should be able to run it at this point. Documents dev RT. And I should be able to cargo run release, and it'll pop up the screen. There we go. So now we're running in a window. You can make it bigger. Oh no, now it looks kind of funky. Okay. But if I hit escape, it'll save the game, and it'll save this particular game. It'll overwrite the JSON file. And if I quit, we should be able to see that we just created a new. Yep. So that's today's date, October 28th, 2021. So we just wrote that. Okay. So let's go back to here, and we're going to add this following function in save load system. Oh, it's just a bare function. It's not part of a struct or anything. So pub fun does save exist, returns a boolean, new save game JSON exists. Okay. Just sorry, checking something else out here. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. It's a single line, and then we're going to modify GUI. It looks like we're adding this line here. Okay, so let's do that. In main menu. So right here, let save exists, super save load system does save exist, and then what do we do with it if it does exist? Oh, and we just changed this here to only show the load game if the save exists. Okay. If save exists, like that. I don't know why they copied the whole thing. I think this is, oh yeah, and then we only want to go to load game. Okay, so if new selection is load game and there's no save, then don't allow you to choose load game. Okay, and that's on the up and on the down. So we can just say here, quit. If we're going up from quit, we want to go to new game. If save exists, then load game, otherwise we're going to go to new game. And unfortunately, it makes the line just a little too long. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. If we're going down from new game, then we want to return if save exists. We're going to go down to load game, otherwise we'll go down to quit. Right? So that takes care of these lines. And I think that's it for this, right? Those are the only changes. And then finally we'll modify the calling code in main to call game loading. Okay. It says main, but I moved it over to game state. I don't like my mains being huge. My main is currently huge. If we look at it, it's doing all the registers and then setting things up, and all this should be actually factored out into, you know, a build game function, probably in game state, but that's for another time. So we have let results GUI main menu. If no selection, then run states main menu selected. That's all the same. If it's selected, load game, then we will call save load system load game. Okay, so that's what's changing here is this, right? Oops, let's put that there like that. And it changes to awaiting input. But first we call waiting input escape. There we go. Save load system load game self ECS like that. What else? Is that the only change here? I think so. And then actually loading the game. So now we're going to go back to save load system and add this deserialize individually. Okay. So it looks like it's almost the same as this one. So we'll just copy paste and then put D and then see what the changes are. ECS is the same. Instead of SIR, it's DE. Data is the same, type's the same. And then we say deserialized components. No error. This time we don't have simple marker. We just put an underscore. And then we say deserialize. And instead of ECS read storage, we're going to do a mutable ECS, double mute. Interesting. $ECS. Oh, this gets an ampersand still. And it's write storage. Type. Okay, then we have data 0. Entities, data 1, marker, and then data 2, which is allocator. Allocator. I think it's allocator. Yeah. And then we do the unwrap. So that's all good. Oh, these all have to be mutable as well. Okay, I missed that. Like that. And then mute DE. Okay, and this is called from a new function, load game. This looks like we can just copy save game. Yeah, 50 lines yanked. Okay, and then we'll just put it here and call it pub fun load game ECS with a mutable reference to a world. We don't return anything. Okay, so we start by deleting everything. This should be a function on our world or on our state. Would be nice to have. So for every entity, we add it to a list of things to delete, and then to delete iter, then we delete them. And I think we're doing it this way because we don't want to delete entities while we're looping over them, right? I bet you the Rust borrow checker would complain if I borrow something mutably while we're iterating over it. Expect deletion failed. So that's that. Let data equals file system read to string. So we're going to read the file into a single JSON string, and then we're going to convert it into data, parse it, like that, and then we're going to deserialize individually. So this is where we're going to get to this part here, and then we have a delete me where we're deleting more stuff. Oh, we're looking for the helper to delete. And then we delete the helper. That's interesting. Okay. So we don't need that. Actually deserialize. So we still have, oh, now we do a mute reference to entities, right? And a mute reference to ECS write storage. Simple marker serialize me, and then, oh, we have another one. Simple marker allocator serialize me. Okay. Right. And then we deserialize individually. Okay. And that's all in one chunk. And here we can't just delete the save helper because we don't know what the save helper is. We actually have to find it. Let's delete entity. Yeah, that deletes the save helper. Okay. So this is going to change to delete me.unwrap. Unable to delete helper. So delete me is an option, entity is none, and then we're going to find it. So we're looping over all the entities we just loaded. I'm going to find the helper. Right? I'm going to find a player. I don't know why. I guess we'll figure it out soon. And the player's position. And then we're going to loop over all of the entities and helpers. So we're going to find the helpers. Oops. Remind me later. And I thought I just updated it yesterday, but in entities, helper, join. So for every entity that has a helper, which should just be this one serialization helper. Oh, we're ECS write storage super map. Right? Actually, I think I'm just importing map, right? Oh no, I see super map in save game also. Okay. Super map. So we get the map, world map, h map, clone. We're cloning it out of the entity system. Right, because we had to store it in an entity in order to serialize it out. But the map is not an entity. So, world map, tile, content, vec new, super map count. Right, so creating brand new tile content. And that'll be regenerated from some E, right? And then for E, player and position in, so every entity that is a player and has a position, join. So we're extracting RLTK point the player's position and storing it right. And getting a copy of the player's resource and storing that player's resource in our resources, right? Because we're only storing the entities, but if you look in main, I'm just guessing at this point, but we'll read the explanation here. We actually insert the map as a resource, right? We insert game log as a resource, but that's already there. We also insert this player entity as a resource and a point, which is the player's position. And again, I'm not sure why we can't just get the player entity and then get the position of the player from the player entity. I'm not sure why they have to be stored separately, but they are. The player has a position component, which has its location, and then we store a separate point in the resources, which contain a shadow copy of the player's position. And whenever we update the player's position, we have to update the resource. It's kind of janky, but I'm just rolling with it for now. So it looks like what's happening here is we're looking up the helper that stored the map for us as part of JSON, extracting the map from that, resetting the tile content because we're going to rebuild that anyway, and then we're going to delete that helper that we stored in the JSON file. And then here what we're doing is we're looking up the point, which is the player's position, and then we're finding the entity which was stored as a entity. The only entity that's an entity in the entity system is the player. I probably said that wrong, but that's essentially it. And then we're storing the player as a resource, the player's entity as a resource that we can access whenever we need to. That's what I'm seeing here. So that's quite the mouthful. So let's step through it. Inside a block to keep the borrow checker happy. That's up here, right? We delete everything. We open the save game JSON file and attach the serializer. We are going to check to see if the file exists before we call this. So this should work, this line. It shouldn't fail on this unwrap. But of course, there's a window of time right between checking to see if the file exists and then opening it. So there's a small window where somebody could go in and delete the file and then we crash. I'm not going to worry about that. We open save game JSON file. We build a tuple for the macro, which requires mutable access to the entity store. So this is the tuple. And then we deserialize everything individually. And then we do this cleanup, right? We go to another block to avoid borrow conflicts with the previous code. We first iterate all entities with a serialization helper type. If we find it, there should be one. We get access to the resource storing the map and replace it. Since we aren't serializing tile content, we replace it with an empty set of vectors, right? Then we find the player. We store the world resources for the player entity and her position. And finally, we delete the helper entity so we won't have a duplicate if we save the game again. If you cargo run now, you can load your saved game. All right. Let us... Oh, you know what's going to happen, though, is if I cargo run now, where did we... So we check somewhere to see if a save game exists, but we don't go to the main menu at startup. Oh, is that something? Maybe that's something I've missed up here. Because as soon as you run, it starts playing the game. It doesn't go to the main menu. Right? So we want to be able to have it show that menu before we do anything. Right? That should be the first thing it does instead of doing this pre-run. In GUI, so in GUI we add that. We change tick, so if run state's main menu. And then we also handle run main menu in our large match for run state, right? So we definitely want to have this here in place when we start up, right? Because we did a GCS insert run state pre-run. That doesn't show the main menu. That's going to show the map, because we're going to build a map. So there should be some code in here which... Where would that be? There's going to be a lot of those references. So this is the run state main menu. If it's a main menu, we do something else, right? That's a selection. Introducing SERDI. In tick we do this. Here's the escape to get to that menu. We want it to basically, as soon as the player starts the game, right, to just go straight into main menu.load. Sorry, the main menu load selection. Because if I start it now, oh well, it's going to fail. Okay, let's fix these problems first. I missed a closing delimiter on load game. And, oh, fs : read, yeah, okay. Source lib save load system. So in load game, that matches. That matches. What did I miss here? Maybe in here? Did I mess something up here? No? Well, let's fix the fs : read to string. Let's build it here. So we have easier to see. Component is not implemented from map. Oh, we have to add path. Okay. Right, and then serialize components. I don't know. I've got a feeling that we're getting cascading errors somewhere. We got to fix the first issue before we solve the next issue. Oh, I see a problem here, 156. Okay. Yeah. Down here, 156. I forgot the closing guy there. All right. Let's build that. Save LOD system. Okay, let's fix that one. Oh, FS. Right, we'll have to add read to string to FS. And I got to add the path one also. Read to string, and then path, and save LOD. Right? It was and that's in game state. That. Save load. All right. This is one of the fun things about writing code, is solving all the bugs that you introduce into the compiler. Wait, I thought I added that. Simple marker allocator not found in this scope. Okay. And then deserialize components, undeclared type. All right, so we have to add that as well, right? And then Oh, there's no unwrap there. Okay. There's something else. Oops. Something else going on here, right? That I'm missing. Delete me dot unwrap. Oh, that was right. It was this. It was missing. Okay. There's Serialization Helper. So it's simple marker allocator is not being recognized. I'm not sure why that is, because that's definitely in the code. Maybe I just need to it's in main. Oh, okay, so I'll just have to add it here. Like that. Okay. Seems like it's getting better, maybe? All right. So here, oh, yeah, I still have to fix that. I don't know why that doesn't work, right? Because I included read to string. So maybe just get rid of the FS, because I imported it, because it says unused import down here. Cannot find serial. Okay, let's take a look at that. I probably messed up the macro when I was trying to convert it quickly, right? That's there. Oh, here, this should be deserializer, right? That's where we messed up. It's just DE. Oops. Like that. ECSDE and then D for data. Although I changed it, I kept it as data. Oh, interesting. This is D here, right? Oh, I see. Inside here, yeah. Let move data, because this data is the different data. That's a data shadow. Okay, let's just call this data file and get rid of this FS. Okay. Let's see if this builds. Better. It's better. We still have this thing about not being implemented from map. I'm doing what they say here, right? Write resource super map. Do we have to add the map? Do we have to add component to map? Because we didn't need to do it for writing it out. Right? Map is not a component. Yeah, it just has default, serialize, deserialize, and clone. But maybe we still have this. If we solve this, this will fix it. So this is line 105, which is where? This line here. Right? Oh. Did I leave? No? Found mutable reference in this macro substitution. All right. So we have immutable entities reference. We have a mutable write storage, and we have a mutable write resource. Oh, write resource. Oh. Right. Okay. So this is write storage, and that's write resource. Did I do the same thing here? Or I called it write storage instead of write. I did. Silly me. Okay, does this build? Better. That's better. And in this entity, where are we pulling that on? Yep, it's another one where we said write resource. Okay. There we go. Of course, we still have problems. Cannot borrow as mutable because data is not declared as mutable. Okay. Left that out. Okay, so this builds for wasm, right? Good. It should build for native. Yeah, see, so it just starts up with a new game. It should go straight to the main menu. And I'm not sure what I need to do. There must be something that we're going to do or we need to do that we haven't done yet in when we start the game. We want to start the game with a main menu showing. So let's just modify main to do that. Right, so instead of inserting a pre-run state, we'll just insert a main menu state. And main menu takes a menu selection of, what should we default to? New game. Like that. So let's run that. So we have this old save game. We haven't overwritten it because I didn't hit escape. So I should be able to now it should come up with the main menu. It does. And I can do this and I can hit load game and it does load the game as it was. Let's see if we can grab a fireball scroll, and that's in our inventory now. If I hit escape, it should save the game. I should be able to quit, start the game up again, load that, and in my inventory is a fireball scroll. It does not save the game log. Is that something that we don't need? I guess the game log is not an entity, so you don't bother saving that. That's too bad, because sometimes that's interesting to see, is what's in the game log. All right. Just add permadeth. It wouldn't be okay. Let's actually save this. We've got this. Let's make sure Clippy's happy, and we format it right. Clippy's not happy. Why is Clippy not happy? Deserialize doesn't need a mutable reference. So line 27. Okay. Is that still true? Good. Okay, so now Clippy's happy. So we didn't... Is that something I inserted? No, it's there. It's interesting, though. It's green instead of purple. Maybe the formatter realized it wasn't needed. I don't know. Okay. Git status. There's nothing new here, right? Git add source. Git commit can now load game at startup. All right. I think permadeth is pretty short. Oh, and then we go to WebAssembly. Okay. Wouldn't be a roguelike if we let you keep your save game. So if... Okay. So in the save load system, pub fun delete save, if path new save game JSON exists, then remove the file. Expect unable to delete file. That. And then when we load the game, after we load the game, we delete it. Okay. Let's quit. We have a new save game here. I'm going to say cargo run ampersand. Oh. Oh, that's remove file, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm putting it in the background because I want to be able to look at the file getting deleted. Oh, it's still not. Oh. I'm going too fast, aren't I? Any second now? Hello? My computer doesn't like building and streaming at the same time. Okay, so we have this. If I look here, we have it save game JSON. If I hit load new game, it loads the new game, and save game.json is gone. All right, and if I hit escape, it's back. Okay, I can quit. Perfect. Clippy's happy, right? We didn't do much. Add source, git commit -m permadeth. Okay, then WebAssembly. The example as is will compile and run on WebAssembly, but as soon as you try to save the game, it crashes. Yeah, we saw that here. Operation not supported on this platform. Don't need that? Okay. Unfortunately, wasm is sandboxed and doesn't have the ability to save files locally. Supporting saving via local storage is planned for a future version. Okay. Who knows if that'll ever happen, right? But in the meantime, we'll add wrappers to avoid crash and not save the game on wasm 32. Womp, 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 womp. Okay, and save load system will modify save game to only compile on non-WebAssembly platforms. So this is interesting. It's conditional compilation for the entire function. I did not know about this before this tutorial. CFG not target arch architecture, right? wasm 32, like that. And then we'll need to create a blank one, right? So for this particular architecture, save game does nothing. right? And then we have to do the same thing for load game. Oh, we might have to do the same thing for does save exist, because this might die. Let's find out. Let's build that. Oh, okay. Let's clean that up. Can we do conditional import using the same logic? Right? If we say this up here, what was it complaining about? Marked builder, serialized components, and file. Okay. But it's going to complain about read to string too, because we're not going to call. Okay, well, I don't know. Let's find out. So there, and marked builder and serialized components also get separated out. Right? Put that there, and say use specs save load these guys, right? Like that. Is that all we need to do, or is that going to cascade to something else? Oh, and then we never use serialize individually. Okay. It set it up here, but I ignored it. All right. One more of these guys. Well, that's great that same conditional compilation thing works for imports as well as functions, and looks like it works for macros too. All right, let's see if we can hit refresh. It says begin new game or quit, which is what you expect. So if I hit begin new game and hit escape, it does not crash, but oh, it doesn't show the, yeah, and if I hit return. So what happened was it wasn't highlighting anything because I think load game was being highlighted, right? But a load game can't be highlighted if we're not in. Does that mean save game exists was returning true? Is that what that means? The does save exist function. Is that always returning true, or is that something we forgot to call? RG does save exist. No, we call it here. Oh, but maybe I was being too tricky with the. Let's look for that. Does save exist? Does save exist? Save exists. We don't want to ever have load game being a choice. And when we run the code, if I hit refresh, it does choose begin new game as that. But when we hit escape, what happens? Right? Oh, is that in player? Yeah, run state save game. And at run state save game, oh yeah, so we say run state main menu load game. So we need to check here. Right? Whether or not we should be showing this load game. And we should show new game if, okay, so save load, we'll do this, if save load system does save exist. If it does, then we'll set this to load game, else we're going to set it to new game. Right? It builds. I hit refresh. I'll hit begin new game. If I hit escape, now begin new game is highlighted, and then you can't select load game. So what would happen before would be, oh, interesting, I hit begin new game, and instead of beginning a new game, it resumed the old game. All right, that'll be for the next stream. I'll take a look at why that's happening. Why doesn't begin new game start a new game? And again, I probably just glossed over something here for creating new games, right? Or not. Let's see if it works here, right? If I run this, it should behave the same way. Just because it was running in wasm doesn't mean it's going to do it any different. So if I hit begin new game, it starts a new game. If I hit escape and I go begin new game, no, it resumes the current game. All right, so there might be something I glossed over here about starting a new game. Right? I'm not sure. New game. It just sets the run state to pre-run. Let me just look for new game. Right, that's the menu. That's the menu choice. And then down here, that's more menu choice, more menu choice. Yeah, it just sets it to pre-run, but it doesn't create a new game. Okay, maybe that's something we can fix on the next stream. I have it so if you hit new game, it deletes everything and starts over again. Because right now it doesn't do that. So you get status, Clippy's happy, hopefully. We didn't do that much of a edit, yeah. So all we did here was modify the code so that, oh yeah, we added that. Git commit, git add source, git commit -m, don't try to load or save on wasm 32. So let's push that up. Let's take a look at my, that was probably what I closed, right? So Uncle Scientist commits to main. There, okay. So tomorrow, maybe what we'll do is we'll quote unquote finish this. I mean, we already hit wrapping up, so this is done. We did finish this chapter, and the next chapter is something exciting, indicating and storing depth. So this will be being able to do multiple dungeon levels, and that'll be fun. But I really want to get new game to work as a new game, and see if we can figure out how to do that on our own. Oops. Okay. So that's the stream for today. Thanks very much for watching, and hope to see you tomorrow. Take care.